And my sister's on there, so.
All right.
Good. Okay, welcome to the September 26th Village of Shawnee Hills Council meeting. All that can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bates. Here. Iser. Here. LaRosa.
Here.
Mantley. Here. Thatcher.
Here.
Timberman.
Here.
All right. Approval of the minutes from September 12th. Anything on page 1? Anything on page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Page 5? Or page 6? Excellent typing, Shirley. All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 12th?
So moved.
Second.
Bates. Yes. Iser. Yes. LaRosa.
Yes.
Mantley. Yes. Thatcher.
Yes.
Timberman.
Yes.
Any questions on the agenda?
Yeah, we'd like to make a motion that we add the gas aggregation, the authority for the city manager upon approval to add gas aggregation and on behalf of the village. And, well, do we need to we do the whole motion later when we do it for
Yeah, I think
legislation?
you could probably, I would think you could just tuck that under miscellaneous business as you get to the end.
Okay. That says,
Fine by me?
that's fine.
All right, so approval of the agenda is written?
So moved.
Bates.
Yes.
Iser. Yes. LaRosa.
Yes.
Mantley. Yes. Thatcher.
Yes.
Timberman.
Yes.
All right, Brian.
To that little tease, now everyone will stay tuned in.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to the end of the meeting. That's aggregation, it's on tap. Reports, a couple things. I did attend that, the Evans Farm JED board meeting that was held earlier this month. I guess just I'm trying not to steal anyone's thunder, but I'll kind of give a little rundown on some of the things. It probably would be Kathy maybe was going to report on this with respect to like actually what's going on up there. For all of us like myself who haven't been driving around, commercial buildings 1 and 2 are up and they're anticipating having tenants in 30 to 60 days. Commercial buildings 3 and 4 are being built. Commercial buildings 5 and 6 are in the planning stages. The question that the board really was considering, and they're going to continue when they meet again in November, is that the idea of what does the income tax apply to? Is it the people working and the net profits of the businesses in the district? Or is it the people working, the net profits of the businesses and those residing in the district? So there's sort of the threshold question of what is it really meant? The JED contract, because I'm sure you remember like all 50 pages of it, actually spells out that it's just those who are working in the district and the net profits of the businesses operating in the district. So that language was sent to Rita, and Rita, through their counsel, is like, well, the Ohio Revised Code actually says it should apply to everyone, including those who are living there. So there's sort of the JED board's trying, and their council's trying to figure out exactly who should it really apply to, given the contract excludes residences, but Ohio law includes residents. And can you really have the one meaning, not the other? So once they try to figure that out, then the next question becomes, well, where are you really talking about? Because apparently there are some, townhomes and condos that are arguably on their own piece of land. And even if you had to tax the residents living there, you could exclude that land from the JED and you wouldn't have to worry about it. However, there's planned, I don't know, or maybe they're already in buildings 1 and 2 that are up. You have commercial on the ground floor and apartments on the top floor. So now you have one piece of property that has both. So harder to split like the top level of the building off for taxing purposes. So there's some issues there that they have to think about and work on, but those conversations are, they are happening now. I know that there's also, I think the developer's representative, you have some questions about, well, should the workers who are building buildings 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, should they be taxed? I think people on the JED board are like, well, yes, they should because they're working in the JED. So another issue that's being talked about with respect to the JED board. So that was the report. It was a very productive meeting. And like I said, next one beginning in November, Kathy's 7th,
6th, 7th, yeah.
6th, 7th, right in there. So we're over at Orange Township for the next meeting. So other thing on my report tonight, after the Miranda Homes Marathon meeting, we did get a public records request from someone who was there. The village, we've worked on producing some records, and we kind of got a follow-up request. We're working on trying to process that and determine whether the request is valid or not, but we'll work on getting that done as well. And that's my report. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
All right, anyone? All right, thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, Russ? No.
I'm going to take my time because I know you want to be out of here early. I think one of the remaining.
I'm going to stop you real quick. Does anybody know that they're blasting an asteroid up tonight?
Yes.
All right, it's in 6 minutes.
Or Aaron Judge is going to hit 61 today.
But anyway, go ahead.
The grass on the Dublin Road property, it looks really nice. They got that cut back. I know there's been some interest in it lately. It's someone, it happens all the time, but someone's going to meet with me this week to talk about some use for the property. We're talking about it. It happens very frequently on several properties and nothing ever comes to fruition. So hopefully something will move forward there though. I have submitted our 2023 Tree City application pending the signature page from the mayor that I forgot on my desk again. I'll get to Dan and get that submitted, but we were above their per capita amount, which was 2. We were at $3.8 per resident on tree maintenance. Chipper Day was a big part of that put us up over and above on that. But I don't foresee any problems with us getting approved for 2023 Tree City. Did have a pre-construction meeting for paving. They plan on coming in and it's between 9 and 12 streets or areas. We're not paving, I don't think, any whole streets, some problem areas. They're going to come in one day and mill everything early October. And then they're going to come back the second day and then they're going to pave everything. I don't have the exact dates. I don't know which way they're going to go in the village, but they are going to provide us with exact dates and the route that they're going to go. Already spoken with Holly. She's going to put something out on Facebook. That way our residents know when and where they're paving. That way, if there shouldn't be any delays or any major issues, but if there are, everyone
I
knows.
didn't mean to cut in. I'm sorry, Russ. You may want to call the bus garage for the schools too.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. I did have a meeting last week with the zoo, Dublin and Powell, to work to make the zoo more pedestrian and bicycle friendly to local residents. The zoo's doing a long-term plan with some finances that they have. And that is one of the items that were included. So they heard some suggestions. There's also MORPC money available that everyone might be able to tap into. We're bringing MORPC into the conversation. Next meeting, we're going to follow up in December. So hopefully we have something good there. But, with the sidewalk being done on Glick Road, we have that one little piece left across the street from the bogey there. But hopefully soon our residents will be able to walk to the zoo. And hopefully on the other end of that, the zoo can accommodate pedestrians safely. They currently can't. More on that. Chris's contract is expired. There is a clause in the contract that we can renew it for 1 or 2 more years. I'm waiting to get more things from Chris. Fortunately, there's no master list of all the contracts we have that we can look at, and we kind of take them as they come. We look at and go, oh crap, and then fix it. Looking at putting together a list, but it was something I inherited. Sanitary sewer repairs. So it's on the agenda tonight to approve a reappropriation for the repairs, to put it out to bid. The mandatory EPA sewer repairs that were like 4 or 5 years in the making on this. We applied for some funds. The state basically came back and said, well, we just gave you COVID money that you can use on that. So the state giveth and the state taketh away. So we'll be repairing the sewers, but that doesn't cover all of it based off of Chris's estimate. But it should cover most of it. I know there will be a minor contribution from the village. We have to get those repairs done by March. So no better time than the present to try to get that done. There's 12 locations it looks like that we have to repair. So that's all I have on that.
All right. Chief?
Spin around or anything. Cops and Kids Day, our cruiser with the new graphics on it. We placed first place in the cruiser competition this year. Glad to be back. Glad to be getting those first place awards. I don't know if our wall can hold anymore though. So we might have to take off the 2011 and back. Lexipol, we received word, we did receive gold status again on their achievement program. So adhering to policies and training and their items there were gold status again. Forecasting into the third quarter, we're almost complete with the third quarter, or we should receive gold status again, which will put us at gold status for the year. We make 3 years in a row. CART for the child abduction response team. We have training tomorrow, so I'll be gone out of the office all day tomorrow. I'll be in the swimming pool, so we're working with some new equipment we got. So I probably won't be able to answer the phone if anyone calls. But I did have the opportunity to speak at the Ohio Alerts Conference, for Amber Alert Conference, and speak to other law enforcement officers, dispatchers, administrators about resources that they have when a child goes missing, and some training that's available to their officers. Again, that's a feather in the cap of our police department to be able to provide that training and that information to other agencies across the state. Hope that was a good one. On the agenda tonight, I just want to remind everyone is the EMA contract. All that contract does is add the Board of Health and the city of Sunbury to that, because once Sunbury became a city, they have a place at the table there. Just a reminder on the emergency management board, if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, I do sit on the board. I represent all the villages in the county. So I should, everyone meets on Monday nights, but I should make my way around to some other municipalities and introduce myself, but I'm here. So if you have any questions about the whole EMA program, you can ask me. And then the code update ordinance that's on a resolution that's on the agenda tonight, that's just annual housekeeping that just changes our code to reflect current state laws or changes in things. And that's just housekeeping. So all I have. Questions?
Trick or treat stuff?
Yes, trick or treat. Morpsey has it on Halloween, Monday the 31st. There has been a request to move it to Sunday. I know this is always a hot topic, you know, when the village gets to decide when Halloween is. You know, there are the trick or treat tailgate. We're gonna do that. I know the Craig was gonna talk about the events committee, or the Main Street committee was planning some extra things along with it. It would be beneficial for that to do it on Sunday, but then I also understand the pooling to have it on Monday on Halloween. I will gracefully walk away from the podium and allow you guys to have that conversation.
And it wasn't really, I was meant like your police stuff, trick or treat stuff is really where I was going with
Okay.
that. But
Yeah.
it's fine, we need to know that when it's gonna be too.
We're doing trick or treat tailgate again. The goal is to close Shawnee Trail. There was a very positive response on closing Shawnee Trail. I mean, it can accommodate 2 cars side by side, but it's still too narrow to put all those people and then traffic. And so we're working on, we'll do the tailgate again at Wyandotte and Shawnee Trail. We have a power outlet. We have, you know, it seems like a good place for us to be able to shut the street off. The lady that lives there in the corner is lending us her driveway. So we'll have some things up in the driveway, and it'll be a good event for everybody. So
it's as similar as like we had last year. Awesome.
Yep.
Good.
Better,
Really good.
more better.
More better.
I have an admin question for you. Come back. Did you ever hear anything further about doing a .gov instead of a .org, or having options for both for the village? I know we've talked kind of a little bit about it in the past, but not really.
Yeah, but I don't remember what my answer was. I'll put it back on the list and pull out the email or revisit it, but
What's the difference?
Because we're a government agency, we're right now .org, we're not recognized as a government facility entity. So
I mean, there's no,
it's the
is there
state,
any benefit to
there
it?
are some, but I couldn't tell you exactly all of them.
I mean, I'm just curious.
We are a government agency. First and foremost, I think.
Yeah. All right, any other questions for us? Nothing?
All right.
All right. Any discussion on Halloween?
I'd say we have already had people asking when, so it'd be nice to.
Here's my 2 cents, and I know that, so I've been around and I understand where traditional on Halloween in Shawnee Hills, regardless of what Worksy says, is fantastic. I think Halloween is probably the best holiday that we have here. I mean, well, anywhere around here, actually. And I think that it's become bigger than having it on that day. I think, given the production that it's become, I think to set it up for a weekday night really is a pain in the butt.
Well, to add to that, it's more of an event, a whole.
Right, it's a whole day event.
Yeah, it's an event with the setup, planning, everything else. It's not just, 2 hours and send your kids home. We kind of embrace that day.
Right. And that's why I think a weekend day, well, not a day, but you know what I mean?
We did last year.
I was gonna say, last year, did we do it on a Sunday evening last year? Is that
Well,
right?
that was changed because of weather. That was a
Well,
weather.
that's when the
thing.
year the mayor moved to, is that last year too?
No, I remember last year I was a vote out online and everybody was really, it turned out really well.
Did we do it on Sunday?
Yeah, we did last year.
That's what I thought.
It was the 31st though.
Yeah, it wasn't the 31st. We moved it to that Sunday because.
No. We've been on the 30, because we said we weren't gonna follow more, so we were gonna do the 31st, but for the last number of years.
That's what I was gonna say, because it was legislation, I was trying to think of how long ago that was, I think that was like
Yeah.
3 years ago, that's why you,
I was gonna say, this is the first year it doesn't.
right.
Well, actually,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because the discussion 3 years ago was, why are we having this discussion? It's on a weekend anyways.
Right.
Warpsy, if it's on a weekend, they move it to a weekday.
They moved to
So
Thursday.
that's why we
Yeah.
moved it.
And so this year, the 31st is on Monday.
Correct.
And so Morpsey is recognizing it on Monday, is that
Yes.
correct? I see.
But if it's an event type of thing,
Right.
I mean, that might work this year, you can back it up one day. But then what happens when Halloween moves to Wednesday? They still, following the same kind of rule? So,
In my opinion, I think we should. Now, how that works, I don't know. I think you have to cross that bridge when you get there.
And I think having it on Sunday this year, just talking this year, we do it Sunday. Parents aren't rushing around trying to get home to get to the events. They got time in the afternoon to get the kids ready, not feel rushed. They got time to set everything up. It'll just be an easier process, I think. Correct, Russ?
Whatever you guys decide.
And my kids really like candy, so they can go Sunday and Monday.
Right, there you go.
Well, yeah, and I heard, one of the residents called, because she said, oh, I hope you guys don't have it on Monday, because I want my grandkids to come here.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so you're.
Who was it? You call her and tell her we're having it Sunday.
Well, she wanted it to have it on Sunday, because
Got it.
where her grandkids live, it's on Monday. So you're gonna
Perfect.
see a big influx if you have it on Sunday. That's be prepared.
All right, do we have to pass anything, Brad? Do we have to?
Well, we had done legislation before, so I would probably do legislation again. You have time, you have the first meeting in next month, so.
but people want to know
Maybe
now.
And I think you should start earlier. No, it gets dark. I don't know what time you were thinking of, but
Oh,
We start the tailgate 2 hours before trick or treat, so really it starts, historically it's been 6 to 8.
I'm out of town that day, if you do it Sunday, I can't come.
2 hours before that.
No shoot.
but for them to actually go house to house, maybe we can start that at
Well, technically.
5.
Legislation, because I think that last piece of legislation said it will be held on Halloween.
Yeah, so we would have to have something to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
something changes. So you can like let the people know who are watching this and that it's likely going to be, although it's going to be Sunday.
Yeah.
They can start
Okay,
getting their costumes.
we spread that word.
Do we feel like
We
do
spread
a
that word.
poll like we did last year? I mean, I know we're pressed for time now because it's only 5 weeks away, but that's what we did last time, didn't we?
Yeah,
You put a poll out there to kind of gauge what community was like, most of them.
And it was overwhelmingly, it was for Sunday. last
Was it?
year.
Well, then maybe it would be the same.
It was,
this
it
year.
was definitely like there, it wasn't like, it was 90-10.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anyone about it, so I don't know what the feel is out there.
That's because Morpsey won't have trick or treat on the weekend. That's why we moved it last year. We moved it to Halloween on Sunday because Morpsey will not do trick or treat on the weekend.
Right, so was it the Sunday or was it the 31st?
We were doing it for the week, we were doing it for the Sunday, not necessarily for the 31st. I don't think that was necessarily the deciding factor. It was to get it out of during the week. It was to give people more time. Because we do it more of an event than just a day. Just, you know.
Well, we have time. Can she put it out on
Tell me what to put out and we'll put it.
Twitter? Please put it out on Facebook, yes, Facebook.
What face?
All right, yeah, so we can do that in the next one. All right. All right, that was fun. All right, Josh, you want to? Sure.
All right. Good evening, council and mayor. We're all still here. The asteroid probably was destroyed now, but I heard 10 more days until they actually see if it did anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But nonetheless, my name
I'll
is
tune in then.
my name is Josh Cross, Ohio Edison External Affairs. I don't think I've really met any of you in person before. I typically work with Chief Barron on different issues that come up in the village. Ohio Edison serves almost all the customers in the village on Dublin and Glick, and all of our side streets here. So we have about 340 services, give or take. And then we also have about 85 some streetlights that are through the village. Met with Chief Barron a couple of times about some streetlight changes in the near future with LEDs. I know you guys have some plans of your own for some streetscape work. So as that comes along, I'll be working with the chief on those issues that come up. But really just want to introduce myself. I'm your guys' point of contact for any sort of outage events that take place in the village, road work projects that take place, tree trimming that we may come into the village and do. I know that always gets people really excited when we start trimming trees, but it's just part of the process and helps mitigate a lot of our outages. So it's just something that we do on a 4-year cycle. So that's really, and then the last thing is we don't really have any significant projects planned in the village with our power lines that run down Dublin Road. So at least for this year, there's nothing in the plans. Don't think really anything would change. We're going to have the overhead lines through the village there for quite some time. But so any questions or concerns from you guys?
Just one. I think we'd had a redundancy program in place. I think you folks were going to be putting in things so that if one of the transformers went out, another one would kick in and everything. How's that process going?
For a specific location or just for the village?
I think for.
So I know down here at the corner, we have 2 services, 2 circuits that come in. So not necessarily to a specific transformer, but we do have the ability to feed the village from 2 different sources. That's been in play for many years, as far as I know. So if that's what you're referring to, but I could follow up and see if there's something different, but most likely that's what it would be.
Right.
So
Is that on like an ATS or do you actually have to manually switch that?
no, that one, that's a good question. I don't know if that's automated or not. I think it is automated. So that could be done from our Akron location or our dispatch office in Akron. So it'd be our SCADA controls. So, but I'll check it. I'm not sure if that one is. I'll look and follow up if it's of interest to you.
If there is going forward, could we put something in place to make that automated?
We will. So, I mean, we have in our second filing of our Grid Mod 2, which we just filed last month with the PUCO. We're investing, I couldn't tell you how many hundreds of millions of dollars into a smart infrastructure. And a lot of that is the smart technology to put more SCADA controls, not necessarily for that one site we would be talking about, but across the entire line.
Right.
So we'd have a lot quicker response time. So Troubleman doesn't have to come down. You know, our office that feeds services the villages in Marion. So in their trucks, it's about an hour away. In my experience over 12 years being down this way is our trucks are usually in Cardington or Mount Gilead when something goes on down here. So it takes them even longer to get here. But with that smart technology, those response times will get improved.
Transfer the load to a different circuit.
Yep.
And come back and worry about it.
Yep. Yeah, and we have automatic reclosures that will go on there too, more sophisticated reclosures than what we have. And those will basically refuse after 3 to 5 seconds. So a really good time as long as there's not a significant carpool accident or something.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we do, like in the spring, especially, we see kind of a lot of power outages in like early summer, a lot. You know, it's one street or another, or you know, section. Do you guys look into why and how it goes out every time the power goes out?
So for power quality type issues such as that, as long as the customers are reporting them when it happens, that's basically how our system works, is our outage management system is based on customer input. So if they're not calling in to report that outage, or if only one person, it's harder for us to really determine that there's a problem there. So we encourage every customer to call in every single time their power is out, even if they're outside the mailbox and the neighbor says, oh, don't worry about calling, I already called. Well, they should call as well. And so we always tell everybody to call. So for those particular streets, is it the same streets that you guys notice? Is it just?
I know it's frequent in the fall and winter time, or spring or fall and spring.
Yeah.
It seems to be really frequent.
Yeah, because there's loading things that we can do to change the system. You know, obviously we change our capacity and our lines automatically based on summer and winter loads. So it could be a delay on those transitions. I don't know when and how often they're moving the power around, but anytime you have that, you just give me a call, let me know, and then we can look into it. But when I send it to my power quality engineer and say, hey, Villages have an issue on, Shawnee Trail, and if they say, oh, we only have one customer call, we're not going to do anything about it. So I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's just.
No, I know we pushed that out before, when the power goes out, and even on Facebook, the power goes out, please, everybody call, the more the merrier. Next question I had was the trimming the trees around the transformers and that. Is that you guys saying, or?
I'm sorry, is it what?
Is that something that you guys handle, or is that something the village needs to?
No, if it's near our equipment, if it looks like a hazardous situation, definitely let me know the pole number or the nearest house, and I'll have our forestry supervisor come out and get it addressed.
Send you a list. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I didn't look to see when the last time our cycle was. I'm sure there's residents that could tell me the day and time that we last went through, but I don't know that when we went through last time. So I think it's 2 years ago. I want to say.
Trail, you guys went through last summer or 2 summers ago.
I think it was 2 because I remember dealing with a few customers that weren't happy, but.
So I know I was at Iconos today for lunch, and I was watching some branches beat off the side of the transformer.
Yeah.
Across the side there.
Yeah, definitely let me know. Send me a list and we'll get those addressed.
All right, anything else for Josh?
All right. Well, thank you guys for your time this evening.
Thank you.
At this rate, we'll see the next asteroid hit.
Right.
It wasn't.
We'll see what you hear.
It wasn't great?
Just kept getting closer than I got right on the screen.
Oh, well, that's
You didn't miss it.
Craig?
Good evening, council members and Mayor. Craig Baldridge with Shawnee Hills Blooms. And the paperwork I'm giving you is more or less what I'm going to talk about. So in case you wanted to make notes or anything, you don't have to, because you have my copy of what I'm going to tell you anyhow. So it's hard to believe that it was back in late March that Russ and I sat down and started talking about this process. And even more amazing that it was June 6th that we had our first town hall meeting. And boy, it seems like a lot has happened since that time frame. There, of the 7 areas, if you remember going back to the Growing Vibrant Communities, there's 7 areas that were identified that we work within. And I'm happy to say that we've gotten 7, we're having headway in 4 of those 7 areas. So in the flower area, we've held 3 volunteer organizational meetings. We've had 3 planting and weeding parties. One of those is in a torrential downpour. And we've had numerous meetings with outside experts, i.e. Delaware County Master Gardeners Association, Delaware County Soil and Water, and with some of the experts from Growing Vibrant Communities themselves. Currently, we have 23 volunteers on our ranks. So from nothing to 23 in 3-4 months. As I get discouraged periodically, I have to come back and look at some of these notes and realize, boy, we've got a lot to be happy about. So our current projects, you'll see the flower beds at the gateways, the municipal building, Framby's Park, and the Memorial Park. We installed planters. Actually, Richard installed the planters on the light poles. And a new item that's on the agenda coming up is we're going to start a Shawnee Hills education series on the 2nd Thursday of the month, starting in October. We have 6 events planned, and they're listed out there on your sheet. I won't go into all the details right now. These will be open to all the community members, and they will be held here on those Thursday nights. Some of the talk we've had is we'll probably have an admission fee, because they found that when they do these, if they don't charge something, there's not much skin in the game. And if somebody just doesn't feel like going, they don't show up. So if they put a little bit of money into attending the training, they do come. One of the things we'll do is we'll go around to some of our vendors and our village businesses and solicit some discount coupons from the folks. So, it may cost them $5 to get in the door, but they're going to save $10 someplace else within the village. So we're working on putting that together. We've implemented a scheduling platform for volunteer sign up. That was one of the bugaboos that we had early on. Yeah, you can send out the note that says we've got something to do, but we really didn't have any way for them to come back and sign up for things. We're currently exploring a platform for community calendar. We can contain all the village events and the items related to Shawnee Hills Blooms. And we've just recently began a decoration committee, because as we got ready for removing the plants in this fall on the poles, we realized we don't know what we're going to put up for Thanksgiving and Halloween and any of those other things. So we're forming that committee so that we can get a calendar and get ideas from everybody. Ideally, we'll get local volunteers, scout groups, troops, and whatever, and we can make as many things as we can. We're trying to do it on as economical budget as we can muster. With that in mind, one of the things we'd like to do is I'll start asking everybody, I need the core plastic signs. We need to collect anything that anybody has of those little yard signs, because we can repurpose those into things that we want to make for some of our decorations. So if you have those plastic yard signs that sit on an H bracket of metal, we're going to be collecting those. So Chief, I need to find out whether I can go out. At what point can I go remove those from somebody's public space out there? When are they illegal kind of thing?
Talk to Mark.
Yeah, we'll go. Okay, future projects for flowers is installing the rest of the light poles. We will be putting the planters on the remaining poles. Future flowers, we're looking for doing things with businesses and also along Dublin Road near the benches. Some kind of a flower event is one thing that we've talked around, a flower swap or seed swap, things like that, because a number of people have extra flowers in their yard that they don't want, and other people would like to have them. So if there's a way we can figure out how to do an education, a swap, that would be an ideal thing for us anyhow. And then more educational opportunities throughout the year. On the urban forestry section, we have formed a tree committee. Right now, it's Terry Herzog and myself, because that's the only 2 people that we've got coming forward. So if you know of anybody that's interested, I should reframe that. There's one other person that has volunteered to be on the committee where it entails doing some work, cleanup or things of that nature. So, but we are looking for 1 or 2 more people to be on that. Ideally 2, because I want to come off the committee and have it being run by the people in the committee. So far, we have surveyed Dublin Road because one of the things that was on our list of wouldn't it be nice to have were trees along Dublin Road. So Terry and I did a walk to get a better handle on how challenging that really is going to be. So I see some nodding heads here. We've also started a review on our current tree code and are making plans. We will be making plans to be involved in Arbor Day when that comes around next April. On the Heritage Committee, we have a committee formed, and Mary Gates has graciously volunteered to lead that committee. She didn't know that. But so we have yet to have our first planning meeting, but now that summer's done, I'm sure that'll be happening so we can all have a sit down. I will mention that the last planning committee meeting I had, we only went through 4 bottles of wine in the evening and people stayed about an hour and a half longer than I thought. So all of our planning meetings aren't really, drudgery. So community vitality, the last area that we have things going on. One of the aspects of the community vitality is activities and programs. And so this, about a month and a half ago, the Main Street Shawnee Hills committee was formed, working with local organizations. Main Street Shawnee Hills mission is to serve the community by focusing on community events that will help build community vitality for its residents, businesses, and visitors. And I want to make sure that we all understand that the visitors, those really help bring more money into our businesses. So the aspect of looking at how we can do events that could include our businesses in those events is paramount, because that gets our members, our community involved in those businesses, but it also helps bring more outside folks in to enjoy our businesses and help support them as well. So we are currently working on the Halloween in the village. We're going to play off of last year's successes and improve upon those. We are currently adding things like cotton candy machine, popcorn machine, some other things and games that we'll be able to do down there in that corner along the trail. The second item we have that we're currently working on is the holidays in the village on December 3rd. We've always had the breakfast with Santa, and we've always had the Christmas tree lighting at the end of the day. And it's been kind of haphazard as what's gone on in between. And so we're trying to come up with some things that would help keep people active and involved in the village. So promoting the businesses that'll be open, so that if they're coming in, they can, okay, I can go to Baker's and I can do some things, or I can go here and there. We're also talking to vendors or to the village businesses about, would you sponsor an event? And I talked to Bumbles and they're excited. They really think this is a fun, neat idea. She wants to do something with cookie decorations where the kids can come in and decorate a cookie and then have the ability to buy packages of cookies that they can take home with them to decorate beyond that. When I'm working with the visitors, with the villages, I'll make one just quick note. When I'm working with all of our village businesses, the thing I'm walking in and saying to them is, I'm here to help you make more money. I want you to survive by selling more of your own product. And hopefully we can all then expand and raise the water and improve what is happening here in our village. So that's just the way I'm wired to work on some things. So working with Bumbles on their cookies, yeah, she's going to give away a cookie, but I really think she's going to sell a number of cookies that she wouldn't have sold as well. So the same for any of the other businesses we can bring in to this as is what we're working on. So I've got a list there of different events and either recognitions, because 4th of July, okay, we've got some decorations we could do. Even St. Patrick's Day, we could do some decorations around the village just for fun and whimsical kinds of things that if we don't have a list, we don't know what we can start playing with. And if we don't sit down with people and start brainstorming ideas, it's just going to stay the way it's always been of what 1 or 2 people do, and then that's it. So that's the update that I have for this evening. Questions?
I don't have questions, but it sounds great. A lot of activity, a lot of getting people involved. I think it's only been found. So I appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that going back years, I think it's the lack of involvement that kind of sunk everything. And that you have that many people already volunteering. I think the trajectory of this is straight up. So I appreciate it.
My pleasure. The last thing I'll mention is I leave Wednesday night for American and Bloom's symposium in St. Louis. That is where they bring all of the folks that are doing this together for a 3-day conference. And I hope to come back just mind blown on ideas of what other communities have done and make our list even more magnificent of what we could be doing too. So.
And see if they'd like to donate.
Well, one of the things that I will hope to get out of that is there are a number of grant opportunities and we don't know where they are. And these are the people that have already figured that out. So yeah, that's.
But donations work too.
When we do the Dublin Road, like when you said it assessed it for trees, is that something that we also as the village will, like Mark and Richard be helping if we decide to put trees in, dig the holes? And...
So I'll say growing vibrant communities is much like the Civic and the Chamber. They're an independent organization that has the support of the village or they're our allies, they're our friends. They're going to make recommendations, something the village can act on. Obviously, we're not asking them to buy trees and plant trees. Some projects need help. I can tell you that the Main Street Committee's been phenomenal, especially with Trick or Treat, taking some of that off our plate. I mean, we have 4 employees over here. We can't do everything, and we can't deliver the type of community that everyone wants. So relying on the Civic and the Chamber and growing vibrant communities is what makes Shawnee Hills a fun place, great place.
That was my question going forward. We are going to be able to assist in any,
Exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely cooperation.
Well, it's the right of way, so it would require ODOT and the village, and there's a lot of moving parts behind that with as far as Dublin Road.
Right.
They just look at it, instead of me spending hours looking to try to find what tree we're gonna plant where, there's a group of people that are gonna come forward and say, these communities planted this type of tree, this type of tree thrives here, and go. So, I mean, some of it is village projects, some of it is recommendations for village projects or village improvements that they're doing the majority of the legwork on, so that we're not spending, I'm not spending hours behind a computer trying to figure out what tree goes best on the road or down the road. So I'm grateful for that.
Any way to improve our front.
And good question, because there's currently an ODNR grant application for tree money. It's matching, so the village has to spend it, but they'll match it. So we couldn't do anything with it this year because we're not far enough down the pipeline to be able to to take part in it. We aren't there. However, we now know that exists, and come this time next year, we'll be in line. We'll be sending the application in, and hopefully finding other places to do the same.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Craig.
No,
you're all right. I was actually going to say everything Craig said, so that's my communication. It's been a very quiet 2 weeks. Okay. No, that's a good thing. So, Rob?
The other thing I'm working on is the Veterans Day in the village, November 5th. It'll be similar as most years, got the American Legion on board, Color Guard, working on whoever is going to speak. But other than that, it's going to be 11 o'clock on November 5th.
Committee reports?
Well, Brian said everything I was going to say, so that's it.
Fantastic. Moving right along now.
Finance met tonight. We surely had a review of our finances year to date. Revenues are still up. Our RETA income revenue is up substantially and should continue that trajectory through the rest of the year. Shirley and Russ had also been working on the budget for 2023, so we reviewed some of that. That's it.
Is that it?
We had UST where we had special meeting to discuss the potential for gas aggregation and potential legislation that we'll be discussing in miscellaneous business.
All right, ready, legislative actions? So this is a third reading, ordinance 19-2022. An ordinance creating and establishing fund number 2901, the state of Ohio opioid litigation settlement fund. Any questions on this? Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 19-2022?
Second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right, second reading, resolution 12-2022, a resolution to approve the Delaware County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management fifth amended county-wide emergency management plan. All right, that's a second reading. The first reading, an ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Shawnee Hills, Ohio, and declare an emergency. So any questions on the different updates? Is this?
I don't have a question, maybe we should explain, because that's a bunch of legalese. It basically just means we're bringing our codified ordinances in line with state law.
Well, first it's any ordinances, laws that we passed during the past year, because we only update once a year, and then, so that would get codified now, and then all the state laws that have passed in that time. So it gets codified, and then it gets put on our website.
Is it time sensitive? Is that why it's an emergency every year?
I think it's already adopted, but to put it on our website, so we have old codes on our website right now.
Right.
So if you pass it right now, then, well, actually, I think they're up there, but it just makes all our codes current.
I think some of the Ohio Revised Code sections too have to be updated as soon as possible because those have changed with Ohio law. So that's
probably.
Yeah, it's traffic
It's always
laws,
it's a bunch. It's always a crunch.
We don't want old laws out there.
All right, so do I have a motion to suspend the second and third reading and declare ordinance 20-22 an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right, motion to adopt ordinance 20-2022?
So moved.
Second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right, this next one is a first reading ordinance 21-2022, an ordinance authorizing the village administrator or his designee to advertise for bid to repair numerous sanitary sewer manholes and lines within the village of Shawnee Hills, Ohio, and declare an emergency. Any questions on this? The combination of 5 years on sewers. All right, do I have a motion to suspend with the second and third reading and declare ordinance 21-2022 an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 21-2022.
So, second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right. This is a first reading. Ordinance 22-2022, an ordinance to reappropriate funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the village of Shawnee Hills during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. So that does not need to be an emergency?
No.
Okay. All right. Bills, were the bills reviewed?
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to pay our bills in the amount of $31,624.51?
So moved.
Second.
Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
Manton.
Yes.
Batchor.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Good.
All right, Shirley, treasurer's report.
Okay, general fund, $403,859. Fund 487,505.70. State Highway 32,636. PD body armor 2,753.48. Continuing professional training 2,535.48. Evans Farm Jed 91 cents. Drug law enforcement 534.41. Indigent drivers 385.84. Law enforcement trust 6,678.33. American Rescue Plan 63,418.14. Enforcement education 1,245.85. Fire levy 70,672.93. TIF 97,855.06. TIF 2 30,699.54. Police District Fund 167,803.94. Veterans Memorial 248.97. Sewer operating 40,145.52. Sewer replacement 13,036.08. Storm sewer 16,403.36. And debt service 71,085.62 for a total of 1,508,869.48.
All right, any questions on the treasurer's report? All right, motion to approve the treasurer's report is written.
So moved.
Second,
Gates,
Yes.
Ister,
yes.
Roasted.
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, miscellaneous business. Rob, did you have any gas aggregation?
Gas aggregation. We had Jay from from Aspen Energy here, and we were discussing the gas aggregation. We are due to renew it for the village. He needs to have an answer in the early part of October. And he was telling us how many of the other local villages or villages around Ohio, small towns that compare to us, like Shelby, Ottawa, and others have done it. And they have authorized their village manager to sign a contract for 36 months, and usually at the rate he thinks is about the best that we'll probably get for a 36-month is 79.5 per cubic foot CCF. For example, Columbia Gas is at $1.10 for the same thing right now. So
0.79.
Yeah.
0.79. Yeah, 0.79 CCF. And they're at 110 at Columbia Gas. So we need to make our arrange so Russ can enter into that for us.
So when does ours expire?
He has to have it in the next week so it can start December 1st.
So ours expires December 1. Our current contract?
I believe that's the date on it in there, Russ. Because we've been trying this for a while. So he's been here a couple, and we've tried to meet with him a couple
Well,
of
it's
times.
because Volunteer Energy filed bankruptcy.
Right,
We
yeah,
were
right.
contracted with them, so really we don't have a contract.
We'd be
We don't
subject-
have a contract.
We'd be subject to market rate.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're paying right now.
That's right.
And so right now, we're paying just the market, whatever, and
The
it's,
what's down.
and it's fluctuating, is that right? Am I
Yes.
understanding that right? And is it like he said the last time he was here, well, he's not saying, go ahead and lock in today at 0.795. He's saying when it gets there, we want to authorize Russ to move on it. Is that what we're
He
saying?
wants us to authorize Russ to be able to move on it at that or below so he can lock it in for December 1st.
It's not gonna get there on its own from what he's saying, at least how I interpreted it. It sounded like he has contacts and he's working on.
He can
He
negotiate.
negotiates and
Yeah.
aggregates
Well,
us with
yeah,
other
and he has to, yeah.
communities. So.
Yeah, it's not just gonna like,
Have
yeah,
multiple.
they're not gonna come.
Not like they're just watching every, like the market, okay, today it's this, today it's that, let's move on
Sounds
to
like
that.
he
Yeah.
actually is gonna have to,
He's gonna have to go in and negotiate that.
Yeah,
but he's already achieved it with, that number has already been achieved with other municipalities. And he feels that he can hit that
Mhm.
for us.
And Brian, I know last time you had some concerns, legal concerns about that, about this type of agreement.
Well, last
Are
time
we
it
good
was
now?
really much more vague. It was like just enter into any contract for any year, any length of time, and any price. And it was like,
was just a little too much vagueness for me. I mean, I think this time if you're like, now we're looking at, okay, it's gonna be a 36-month contract when the, we'd be authorizing directing the village administrator and enter a 36-month agreement. If the price dropped, if the price reaches 0.795 or below, I'm good with, that's not gonna keep me up at night. Before when it was just any term, any price, Russ, go for it, it was kind of made all of us nervous.
And did he talk about, because the last time he said, our economy is really volatile right now, and who knows what could happen in the next few years. He had said if things would change and the price would go way low, we would have the option to renegotiate and extend. Is that still what was proposed today?
There are two options for that. There is the blend and extend, which normally happens if you're 2 years in.
Blend and extend, meaning if it went to 69, then we would get 75 or whatever. Is that what we're saying?
Then they would negotiate, okay, well, now we've got a year left on our contract. We would extend it to the third year, another year, but then they would give us a lower price. Or everyone has the option at any time, every resident village to opt out.
Right.
So.
At no cost.
At no cost.
Right.
So, and we've done, again, I've been on UST for about 5 years. We've done the blend and extend before in the past, I believe. Way back, one of the first years. It seems like we've talked about it so many times. So, but the rates were always way lower then too. He said it's more than doubled in a year. So
I think, so everyone feels comfortable, if you could reach out to Jay and have him send us the blanket contract minus the amount. And then have Brian review that way when he does move on it. I'm not sending a contract to Brian to have renew. So we have Brian review the contract, whatever legal word he wants to put on it. I'm gonna use the word approve, but review, look at whatever. That way that's already pre-vetted through Brian, and then whatever amount he comes back with or whatever you guys said.
Because of the structure, like how this has happened with the rates and everything like that, I don't think, this is kind of historic, I think, for this situation, for it to jump so much and put us so far away from where we were. I wonder if there's any way in that contract that if it drops below, like if natural gas just drops below our 0.795, that contract is just, we can renegotiate.
We'll opt out as a village.
Right, that's what I mean, but it sounded like when he was here, I asked him, he said that's not optional. That wasn't, the individual resident.
Right.
but not the
We
village.
can't as a village, and I think if it drops below our contracted price, there should be some stipulation in there that we should be able to, as the village.
Oh, I thought he did say.
No,
as the
we're
village.
stuck.
It's an individual
Individual.
action on that part. Because where the individuals have the individual contract for the pricing, otherwise everyone goes to Columbia Gas.
That part I didn't.
That was my concern and question as to why, when it was 50, half of.
You're right, 12 months.
0.50, 12 months ago, what happens if it goes back to that and we're stuck here?
Right.
The only option we have is to renegotiate.
We've seen how it's handled in a year. What
If we're
happens?
far enough in the contract.
Well, he's already said it's gonna drop in the spring.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was my concern, where are we gonna be stuck with a higher rate, where if we wait till spring, we can lock in at a lower rate, even though I know this winter will be bad for the bills, so.
I think there's a lot more market concerns out there than just spring hitting and lowering the price, to be honest. I don't see it actually going down what we bought it for, a year or so ago.
With the world situation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, we're, as you said, we're net
I'm not
exporter.
saying you're wrong, I was just saying it'd be nice to have something in there because there's, as a village, how many people that are watching this, because I know the millions of people out there who are paying attention to us right now, have all of the knowledge of what we're doing, you know what I mean? Like, so next year comes around and if for some reason it drops to 71 cents and they're still just thinking, oh, well, the village is doing the best for me, not paying attention. And then they're actually overpaying because they didn't know that they, one, could opt out, two, even had the option to. That, it just seems like.
Everyone gets a notice.
Okay, there's something.
Yeah.
It comes automatically.
No, that's good questions because it is good to put that out for people to know, so.
The best interest is the people, the residents.
Right.
I just want to make sure that it's.
Well, the fact of the matter is, this does make sense if we lock in the rate here, right? It gets us through this winter, and obviously just due to market conditions, the rate will drop in the spring.
Right.
And then you revisit this next year.
I just be mindful, if you enter into a 3-year agreement, there's a good chance that you're not making it your contract.
Correct.
You know, an individual person, I mean, who really knows how much they're paying for gas on a level? I mean, so, yeah, you will not be revisiting anything. You lock in, you locked in.
Maybe we make it a village as in one of these meetings, somebody notate every 3 months, quarter, we bring it back up just to have the conversation to see where we're at. Even if it's only a 2-minute conversation of, hey, we're currently at this number.
Well, because Jay comes in. He does
Come in 2 or 3 times a year anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
We can't do anything about it, but at least this way people are aware and it's on
Well, they can
the
opt out.
forefront.
Then we can tell them.
Individuals can hop out. Right.
I mean, if Columbia Gas is actually going to be better at a market rate, then they can very easily just opt out of the aggregate, and go to Columbia Gas.
Or someone else.
So where are we on what we're asking for here? Did he make, like, I know
We
it
had
was a
made
motion.
yeah.
Now, I think you wanted to make a motion authorizing and directing the village administrator to enter into a 36-month aggregate gas contract if and when the rate drops at or below 0.795, and then the contract has been reviewed and approved by legal.
I want to make a motion, what he said.
I'll second that.
But what he said, no.
Just kind of surely put that back and,
All right, Gates,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Rosa,
yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Thatcher,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right, any other business? All right, motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I really wanted to give you